The first BaconBit in 4 months.
It feels like it.
I think it might
years.
actually be
Really?
4 months, 3 to 4 months. We're so sorry. There's apparently a strike where movies weren't coming out or just weren't screened or weren't good.
Well, and the general rule of
streak
Bacon
continues.
Bits, the general rule of Bacon Bits is that 2 out of the 3 have to have seen it.
Yeah.
That didn't seem to work out a lot of times.
No.
So
There were a lot of vacations and, not seeing movies. And
Got crazy.
Not inviting us.
Anyway.
literally, I took Joel to a movie, and Joel and I did see this movie. Zach, you have not. And Joel, what did you say after we saw the movie?
I said, thank you for getting me off the blacklist of screenings.
I feel like I have a blacklist.
It had been a while.
I feel like I haven't been to a screening in a long time.
You hadn't.
I mean, remember for a hot second there, we were going to movies together, all 3 of us?
Yeah.
You know how fun that was?
That was cute and fun.
Aw.
Yeah. But let's talk about this movie.
What movie is it?
The Marvels.
The Marvels. Carol Danvers gets her powers entangled with those of Kamala Khan and Monica Rambeau, forcing them to work together to save the universe.
Zach, have you seen the first one, Captain Marvel?
That's
from
the one
2019?
that they shoehorned in the 1990s.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Hey, you just need to play music and wear Nirvana t-shirts and you're in the 90s.
Yeah.
That one.
Well,
Yeah, I think I've seen that one.
I think I gave that one a middling review.
Jude
if I remember
Law
right.
is in this one?
But this
in that
is the sequel to Captain Marvel
And?
and WandaVision
And
Miss Marvel.
Yes.
And?
Secret Invasion, kind of?
Yeah, kind of.
So many things.
It's just one of those movies where there is a lot that came before this.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually did not watch Miss Marvel. I watched
Neither.
a recap, a summary recap, got
Okay.
the feel of it, and I think that was enough. I think they did enough background in the movie to kind of give you a feel of who they are. Monica Rambeau, maybe not as much. If you haven't watched WandaVision, it's kind of like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Walk through a witch hex, what?
Yes, that's how she got her powers. But she
Yeah.
totally forgave Wanda for being a horrible, horrible person.
Yeah.
They don't know what you went through.
That was her line, wasn't it?
So
She
we're
was
being,
the-
we're being a little too negative about previous Disney Plus shows.
Well, just because it's got
It's because they're not good, though. That's why.
I liked WandaVision enough. But I
I like 7 episodes of WandaVision.
so this movie is the coming together of these 3 characters who all have not similar powers, but just their
powers of light.
powers. They're coming from the same source, essentially.
Like one can manipulate light, one can use cosmic light blasts, and one can see light.
Okay, I genuinely didn't know that. I thought it was like a Green Lantern Corps situation where they kind of all had the same
So
powers.
how they're brought together, and this is, shown in the trailer. This is
Yeah.
spoiler free, by the way.
oh yeah, the first part of this review is going to be spoiler free. We won't get into spoilers. We'll let you know when we're going to get into spoilers.
There's an artifact that the villain finds at the beginning of the movie that is linked to an artifact that one of the heroes has. And so this manipulating this artifact basically brings these 3 heroes together, and this is the whole joke of the movie, or the whole crux of it.
Yeah.
Whenever they use their powers, they change places.
At the same time.
Yes.
Whenever they use powers at the same time. So, and that actually, yeah.
Okay.
No, it's like, imagine like it's Superman, and when he uses his laser vision, he switches places with Batman. Like it's just that would be a fun situation.
like when we're recording? But people don't know because it's audio only.
yeah, like how we do it.
Yeah.
It's fine. We're all on mics.
Yeah. So this is a couple things I want to talk about at the beginning. I like that premise. I like the idea of like, oh, that'd be kind of frustrating if you can't use your power because then you won't be where you want to be.
Like it's like a sitcom-y sort of ploy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like this is kind of a jokey movie. This is a very unserious movie. By the way, Zach, only an hour and 40 to 45 minutes
Well,
long.
that's
And
nice.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You should have heard the sigh of relief I had when Kent said it's under 2 hours. And I was like,
Well, and-
oh, thank goodness.
And please don't misinterpret. I'm not saying like, oh, thank goodness it's short. It's like, no, I think a lot of these action movies have gotten bloated.
Yes.
I think a lot of movies in general have gotten
Just
bloated.
hour and a half movies. Bring them back, man.
yeah, totally.
Kenny, mind if I go first on this
Yeah,
one?
go for it.
Well, I have a real quick question. And this is very important to me. I don't know, and I haven't looked into anything about this movie. Tell me about Alison Brie Larson's hair. I don't know which one is it.
Brie Larson.
Brie Larson.
Allison Brie is from Community. And Brie Larson is...
Okay, from Room. Okay, is her hair normal?
It's a bob down to her chin, and so it's not short, which is nice.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Because it was real weird in Endgame.
Well, because in Endgame they were going for that
The comic book
style, and I think they quickly realized that doesn't work.
It's not good.
Her hair's good in this one.
She's got good hair.
She's got good
It's like
hair.
90s cute.
However, she does look like she's terrified in every scene she's in. She's got this wide eye thing going on where I'm like, is she okay?
Joel, they call that sleepwalking through your role. Okay,
Hey,
go ahead.
My review.
Yeah.
I actually went into this movie kind of like I was intrigued by the premise. Captain Marvel, like I said, I gave a middling review. I like WandaVision. Ending maybe not as much, but the flow of the show I enjoyed that as the mystery unfolded. Didn't watch Miss Marvel. But I watched this movie and I was kind of like, you know what? I'm not hating this. I'm not hating it. It's a fun little ride. But the problem with this movie is that it gets a little... They talk about their powers being entangled, okay? They have this entanglement of powers that cause them to switch around. I feel like...
Okay, Jada Pinkett Smith.
One of the main problems with this movie is that it is too entangled with other shows. I don't think you can drop in the middle of this movie and just watch it and know everything that's going on. There are long character backstories that are happening here. Like, Nick Fury shows up and it's kind of like, you have to know who Nick Fury is and why he's on the ship. Which, by the way, they just need to let Samuel L. Jackson retire. He looks tired.
He's looking tired.
And they
old.
basically have him sitting in every single scene in this movie.
And when he runs, it's sad.
It is a little bit. I think the filmmakers realized fairly quickly on that Kamala Khan, who's Miss Marvel, the young girl, who's a big fan of Captain Marvel, I think they realized she's the only character with any charisma. And so they relied on her way too much. Like it's like someone hitting the laugh track a really long time and you're like, let it up. Because I thought she was, I liked her as a character, but they relied on her way too much. That comic relief just kept going. Also, the issue is her family, because her family is in this movie a lot. And I didn't watch Miss Marvel, but they're kind of this
big part of the comedy, I'm sure, for the show.
They're not fazed by anything. It's
right.
kind of like, oh, their daughter's in trouble. It's like she's concerned about a mess.
Yeah.
And because her family is like unsurprised and unafraid of everything, it really lessens the tension so that the audience isn't like there's no stakes.
Yeah.
Because like, oh, they're going to be fine. I like the idea that they switch when they use their powers. But also it felt like it didn't matter because they'd be fighting someone, Captain Marvel, who has these amazing, some say overpowered powers.
She can fly through ships.
She can fight and she can do all this stuff great. And then she used her powers. She switched with Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, and the little girl ends up being able to fight just as good as the person who was behind her. There's a couple scenes where they kind of joke on the fact that it's different, like she can't fly. So when Captain Marvel switches with her, she just starts falling. That I was amused by that. But the fighting stuff, I was like, well, what does it matter?
Yeah.
When they're switching spots, what does it matter? Also, there seems to be no distance issues in space. The
geography of the movie is off.
It's confusing. Like the fact that they're on Earth, but in space, but far away.
So for example, Zach, there is a scene near the beginning where they just keep switching places. And you're like, this is crazy. They're all in different spaces. And then literally people that were just in space appear at the front door. And you're like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But it's an hour and 45-minute movie. So it just clips right along.
Yeah. So overall, I didn't hate it. But I also, it got messy. Like, I heard actually they had to do a bunch of reshoots for this movie to make the story more understandable because it was just kind of bizarre and out there. I think this was directed by the woman who did Candy, the new Candyman.
Yeah, Nia
right?
DaCosta.
Yeah, but I don't know if her directing was as sharp or as cohesive as she wanted it to be, as audiences will want it to be, because it does get really muddled in the middle. I think it ends fine. There's a couple scenes there where we get in the spoiler-free version I'll talk about specifically. But overall, I'm giving this a middling 2.5 because I don't think I'd watch it again, but it wasn't like an unpleasant experience. There were parts I enjoyed, but I just went, yeah, I don't think I'd watch that again. Like it's not not my thing.
This will still be part of your review, Joel, but I'll give you the same question here in a second, Ken. Are you, Joel, walking into these movies now, these Marvel movies, expecting disappointment or like, do you essentially walk in and go, you're at a low star rating and it's going to take something interesting for you to raise it?
Every movie I watch starts at a 3 because I'm like, you know what? You made a movie. I'm going to see you. You're at a 3. And this one actually stayed at a 3 and might have even gotten to 3.5 at one point, but then it dropped to a 2.5 where I just went, it's just exhausting.
I feel like when you started Bacon Sale, all wide-eyed, bushy-tailed, and all happy, you were a Marvel guy, big Marvel fan, maybe even a Marvel defender. And I feel like in recent movies, you have become jaded and uninterested.
Well, it really is the Endgame effect, I feel, because that was the culmination. That was the Toy Story 3.
Sure.
And then they make Toy Story 4 and you're like, yeah, it's good, but Toy Story 3 is where it ended.
So do you find yourself generally disinterested with Marvel?
Yeah, I think since Endgame, there hasn't, I shouldn't say hasn't. Like I did like the Spider-Man, of course, but I don't think there's been like a really wow movie since Endgame. For me, for Marvel.
So I
still will defend the earlier ones.
I wonder if going into it, right, where you're already feeling kind of meh about it all, if that kind of instantly makes you feel meh about the movie. Because Kent, we know that you have been anti-Marvel for at least anti-MCU for its entirety of its inception.
Well, since Incredible Hulk.
Incredible Hulk and Iron Man.
Okay, so 2008, you were cool with it, and then everything after you haven't been.
You have to do something pretty substantial to be considered good.
Okay,
right.
So I think you are probably walking into these movies.
Well, at this point, they are past the point of expiration.
Yeah,
I mean, I will admit, Endgame ended it the way it needed to be, and since then they have just thrown content at us like en masse, and it's not getting better. And this movie is an example of that.
With that, going to your review.
This is a extended TV episode that really doesn't explain anything. The plot happens so quickly. Like literally, they're like, "How do we get out of this?" And then Monica Rambeau goes, "Oh, we do this." And I'm like, should we like theorize of how this is going to happen? Or there's an emotional moment. "Oh no, Carol, you seem so sad." "Yes, I'm sad because of this." "Okay, that's done." This is like one of those things where, you watch a movie like Harry Potter and you're like, if Harry just talked to Dumbledore, this problem would be over. That's this movie, but it's boring.
That's not boring.
It's boring and it's tonally insane. There's a point where there should be a really sad moment,
which are not allowed in Marvel movies.
Well, no, but it's like I will say a destructive moment, and there should be consequences. And then literally they fly somewhere, and Carol goes, "I'm sad about something in my past," and then they go, "What about this?" Pat on back. And she's like, "Okay, you're right. Let's go kick some butt." And it's just like, what are you talking about?
Full House.
What you just did in this other planet has consequences, and it's bad. And the movie it burns through, and I'll say that. It clips right along, and thank goodness. Right? Don't you think?
I did at one point go, this was under 2 hours, right?
That said, cut 30 minutes off of this. The whole Nick Fury plotline is the dumbest. It belongs on a TV show, and he shouldn't have been there.
It was
the family shouldn't have been there. They did lead to the movie's best moment.
That was a great moment.
Which is completely CG, but it is a clever moment for about 27 seconds. I'll give it that.
That was actually where I kind of went, oh, maybe I do like this movie.
But I kind of disagree with you. I think the only thing this movie has going for it is Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan. Miss Marvel. Yeah, she was playing fangirl the entire time, and they leaned right into that.
Yeah.
But still, the movie starts off, and it kind of like the TV show, I guess. There's like an animated sequence, and I'm like, I like her.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't watch the show. I think she could be a star.
Are you going to go back and watch the show now?
No.
Oh.
Listen, I'm not going to watch a TV show to understand a movie. That's silly. But that said, I like her. I don't like her family, but I think she's easily the best part of the movie. I think Brie Larson took the criticism of her being so wooden in the first one, and she plays, it has a couple scenes where I'm like, oh, that's likable. But man, she is sleepwalking through this movie. This feels like a paycheck, and then Monica Rambeau's actress, not good whatsoever. The villains in this movie, Zach, I think we should just go work at Disney Marvel, because apparently if you're interns, you can be the bad guy of the movie. The villain of this movie, Dar-Benn, is the most forgettable villain in any Marvel movie. And I've seen Thor: The Dark World. Like, it literally, I was like, and then her lackey, basically Man Bun.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, what is happening here? Did they just run out of villains?
There's not a lot of character to her.
There's zero character.
She reminded me of, like, I don't know, like a knockoff version of Khaleesi from Game of Thrones.
Yeah. But even the way she emotes, I was like, she's not tough. Like, there's really nothing here. And there's supposed to be history with she and another character. It just doesn't play out at all. And I think almost to the movie's detriment, it maybe should have been a series, because then they could explain maybe some of the link that Carol and Monica have, because nothing is really explored except through flashbacks of other movies. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't play out well. I will say this. It is a movie that, Joel, you even described this. It feels like a PG movie.
Oh, yeah. This is like
PG-13.
This is a very soft PG-13.
And this is meant for 11-year-old girls. Like, quite literally, and not even in a bad way.
This is like the Miss Marvel crowd.
Yeah, this is a Marvel movie for 11-year-old girls. And I think that's fine. But for general audiences, like, I wouldn't recommend really anyone outside of that audience go see it.
Yeah, I was actually, I was surprised it was PG-13, because I went, oh,
same.
Why?
Yeah, and a lot of the jokes, and there were a lot of jokes, none of them really landed, except for like the way they set up
stuff.
But that's really it, or the family. Like, nothing really played out well. This is a whimsical movie, and I'll give it that. Like, and I did laugh. I guffawed at one part. So I was like, okay.
Was it the iPad plug?
Oh my gosh! And there's some horrible product placement.
We can say this is not a spoiler alert, but there's one part where so you know in movies like how they have like a see-through screen with like the super technology, and we don't know why you want people seeing what you're looking at on your screen.
Yeah,
but she has this. You know, it's not Shield anymore. It's
Saber.
Mm-hmm. So they have this amazing Saber technology. Hey, we're in the office now. This amazing Saber technology tablet type thing, and they're looking at it, and the girl goes, "Oh, is that an iPad?" And Monica Rambeau goes, "I wish." And I literally can't heard me go in the theater.
Yeah,
because I was like, "Wow, that was blatant."
Yeah,
because really, you wish you had an iPad compared to a futuristic Saber technology tablet. Whatever.
It's running Android.
There's nothing here that makes this required viewing at all. You could totally skip this movie, and it would not matter in the scheme of things if you even care about the universe.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to.
I know you are.
I thought it was fine. Like, honestly, the background show, not a problem. Like, there's some fun moments.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe in background shows. I like
not even at a barbershop?
Nope, I fully invest.
And in that way, this is a Disney Plus show. You wait 3 months. And having this in the background and getting it for free, quote unquote, you'd be like, oh, yeah, that's fine. But as far as it really goes, it's a D. I almost want to give it a D plus for the humor in one scene.
Well, let's get there then.
Yeah, okay.
That's your review. So D. I say 2.5, you say D. Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. Here's the spoilers. Intergalactic spoiler territory, intergalactic.
Don't tell me to spoil. I don't know.
What was the extra syllable there?
I submit that
we're going to spoil Miss Marvel or Marvels now.
The Beastie Boys need to be retired from being in movies.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Oh, I still enjoy hearing them.
But they're part of a fun montage in this movie. Okay, let's start from the beginning.
So, okay. Yeah, okay, we got to start from the beginning.
So they do a lot to set up this movie through exposition. If you haven't seen what's going on, basically it's Captain Marvel. She has like a little mind device from the Skrulls, and it plays your memories. And so it's basically our way of catching up to the story so far.
Speaking of catching
her trauma.
Up, did the Skrulls ever become bad guys?
No.
They're still buddies.
In this one, they're in this one, and they're still good. They're still sympathetic. Well, we don't have a planet.
The Kree are bad from the first one. They're still bad.
If you know who the Kree are, they were the blue guys in the first movie.
Okay. Or they're just people.
That was the weird thing. When she's like, I'm a Kree, I'm like, it wasn't ready.
So Dar-Benn is the villain. She's
Dar-Benn, Darbenn.
So what happened? I know, Zach. I know.
I feel like I'm doing a word problem in school.
So
Dar-Benn.
So the train leaves the station.
So part of Captain Marvel's trauma is the fact that she is considered among the universe the Annihilator because she once destroyed AI, which stopped a world from gathering its resources.
Yeah, like the end of the movie, I believe at the end of the movie of the first Captain Marvel movie, she says, I'm going to go stop Master Intelligence or whatever the name is.
Yeah.
And we don't see that.
No.
But we just see the aftermath of she went there, she blew up this AI on this planet, and then it made their sun dark.
Joel,
and
what was the planet called?
Holla. It was called Holla.
And so Dar-Benn is really mad at Captain Marvel for basically destroying her planet. And
so she gets she finds one of these bangles, this bracelet, the bangle, and that gives her the ability. There's supposed to be two of them, but she only has the one because Ms. Marvel has the other. And so then she has the hammer that Ronan the Destroyer had in the first Avengers movie as well.
He put a stone into.
Yes,
but he didn't have the stone. But it's still got that purple glow, which is a little confusing to me. But oh well. Anyway, but what she does is, you remember how they jump in these movies where they like in the spaceship they press a button and there's like a little honeycomb thing that appears and they go through it, and then Rocket goes through a bunch of them and his face all distorts and it's funny.
Vaguely.
So that takes part here because when she hits the hammer on her bracelet, it opens up one of those jump places, but it's like an unstable, permanently open one.
Yeah, so it hoovers a planet.
Yeah, so like Spaceballs, you remember Spaceballs? When they have the vacuum and they're sucking out all the air? That happens on one of the planets where they suck up breathable air.
By the way, the only reason that the other two, instead of Miss Marvel, is that they touched the portal once.
That's true.
And it's so stupid. I'm like, that's your setup? Okay.
It can happen. This is a world where like, gamma rays shot through Bruce Banner and turned him into the Hulk.
Yeah. Okay.
But here's my question.
Yeah.
If Dar-Benn could open up a rift using only one bangle and a hammer, later on, they open it up and Miss Marvel is there and the hammer is there. And I'm like, why can't she do the same thing and close it? But instead they say, no, well, I'm jumping to the end. But they go to a planet at one point, and I actually was enjoying this for a second.
Really?
Because they go to this planet, and Captain Marvel, Carol, she says, I'm kind of a celebrity on this planet because I helped their prince with a little legal situation. And I'm like, that sounds okay. Let's see what goes on here. Turns out she's actually married to a South Korean actor star who's in this movie. They're really they're trying to cater to the South Korean audience by casting Park Seo-joon. I think is how you say his name. But it's a planet, and I liked that she was secretly married. I went, that's kind of funny. But it's a planet where they only sing to talk. So it turns into a musical.
So
briefly.
it's a Bollywood musical for a minute.
And when I say sing to talk, I mean like they say just talk normal to him. She's like, that's like you're speaking a different language. And I'm like, that's not how language works, but okay.
Like Ancient Lamentations level.
So they go to this place and they literally have this music dance number where Brie Larson dances with Park Seo-joon, and they sing and dance with each other about how this threat of a planet is happening. Because they're getting there to be like, we need to stop this. This is very quick. They take a quick moment for a dance break. And then she just starts talking to him. It's like, oh, he can understand. You're like, yeah, he's bilingual. Why did you, if you were trying not to waste time, why would you do the whole dance number?
Zach, here's the potential.
Because Brie Larson had to have in her contract, she wants to fire up her music career again.
She's got a good voice.
Yeah. She was
so
the singer
the potential of
for 5
this
seconds
scene
there.
is that it's colorful and it's even fun on the outside. Here's the problem, though. You're watching it, you're like, you know what? They put so much money into these movies, $300 million. What if they sing a song that's a banger? What if they have a catchy song? Guess what? None of that happens.
They were like, hey, RRR did it.
Yeah, no. Yeah. This is diegetic music, right? Did I get that right?
You did.
I love that word.
Where they just sing what they're thinking, and it's not good. And there's basically, they're like, oh, I need to protect your planet, so we're going to hide over here till the villain comes to destroy your planet immediately. And then guess what? When your planet's being destroyed, we're going to take off. We're going to leave the planet, go talk about my trauma. That's the tonal inconsistency.
Speaking of musicals, you know how some musicals, it's like, okay, I'm suspending reality here, and this is fine.
Yeah.
And other times people start singing, you're like, ooh, that's cringy. This was cringy.
Yeah.
It wasn't great. But this planet is like 99 point something % water. And because Hala doesn't have water anymore because AI was destroyed, they're going to open up that portal and hoover out the water, which they do. And then they just kind of leave like, oh, it already happened. We got to go. Bye. And they don't really ever go back to that planet where she is literally the queen of or princess of and where she has a husband. They never talk about it again.
No, they die. That planet is dead now.
Did they say that though?
Yeah, because the same thing happened to the Skrull planet early on.
Yeah, because they still
they
the
set
air
it up
from the
that
Skrull
every
planet.
planet they visit will be dead in sight of its resources.
All these planets that are dear to Carol Danvers, which includes
Earth.
Yep.
Yeah, they're taking our sun because their sun doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
And so they're sucking our sun through a little hoover hole.
But then when the Kree, not the Kree, the Skrull, their oxygen gets stolen away. And it is actually kind of a horrifying destruction scene that starts to happen, but then they kind of get away and they don't talk about it again.
No.
But they say, we need a place for these people to go. Now, keep in mind, Secret Invasion was an entire series about how, hey, we've looked all over the universe and there's no place for the Skrull to go. Literally in this movie, they're like, I called a friend. She's got a place for you to go. And then Valkyrie shows up in her Men in Black international suit and says, all right, I'm here to help. This is my cameo. And then she takes, then the Skrull go away. And I'm like, and I turned to Kent. I feel bad when I talk to you during movies, Kent.
I love it though.
But I turned over to you and I said, wait, isn't Asgard on Earth now? Wasn't that the whole problem of Secret Invasion?
New Asgard.
Yeah. I don't know.
This movie doesn't care. It's going so quick, it wants you to forget about its plot holes.
Yeah.
So, do you see what am I hearing about? Like an alternate version of Monica Rambeau?
Oh yeah,
Sort
since
of.
we're spoiling,
Yeah.
the only thing that will impact any sort of future movie.
Wait. We talk about the good stuff first. We're getting into the like mid
Oh, we
credits
did,
right now,
didn't we?
No, we didn't talk about the cats.
Oh, okay. Zach, hang on to your question real quick.
Okay.
Yes, because there's a scene where they're up on this. Nick Fury and a bunch of other people are up on this ship, just barely, orbiting Earth.
Wasn't it real flimsy that the space station started, having some issues?
Yeah, they find these weird kind of pods everywhere, and they think it's some sort of invasion.
So basically, the space station where there are hundreds of people, and for some reason, Kamala Khan's family that they took from Earth to bring to the space station for really no reason.
Comic relief.
Then they're like, hey, more than half of the escape pods aren't working. We can't fit everyone from the space station onto the few escape pods that we have. What should we do? Well, there's these weird...
the pods that were all over the place.
Yeah, there's these weird brain pods, which are basically tribbles, right?
Well, it turns out that, you know the cat that hangs out with her, Goose?
Yeah.
That has the octopus come out of his mouth?
Yeah, Nick Fury's eyeball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So apparently that cat's been laying eggs all over the station.
Oh.
And they hatch, and
Been
they're
there.
cute little kittens everywhere, which I was like, that's kind of
Cute
adorable.
or CG?
Cute and CG. Mm-hmm. But then these creatures, I can't remember what they're called.
Flurkins.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I saw the cat on the big sphere in Vegas.
But there's a little bit of a TARDIS-type situation going on where they'll swallow people, and then they can regurgitate them back up, and they're fine. They're slimy, but they're fine.
So, Zach, if you were to incorporate a scene with many cats and add a musical number, including those many cats, what song would you include?
Oh, something Jellicle Cats. I
Yeah.
don't know.
So close.
Literally.
What?
Memory.
It's Memory.
Really?
They start playing Memory from this musical Cats. As literally Nick Fury says, we have a plan, and these cats go around and start swallowing everybody in the station because they're like, it's much easier to transport all these small cats than big humans. But it made me laugh, like literally made me laugh, because you hear these announcements these announcements are playing over the PA going, "Don't run away from the cats. Let them eat you. We promise it's going to be okay." And Memory is playing, which I thought Mr. Mistopheles might have been a better choice because it's about magic and
Yeah, but it's not as well known. It's not as pop culture relevant. And
But
that
it made me laugh.
Yeah.
That was the funny part.
That was a funny scene. That almost got a D+.
That almost raised it.
The way they did it was
Halfway.
actually really funny.
Good.
I did like that. And it was like, I thought it was a clever solution, maybe a little ham-fisted because it was like, these eggs just appeared and then they're cats and then they can take people.
So there's this thing where Captain Marvel's been struggling the whole time. She doesn't even, in the end, they're like, maybe we shouldn't kill the villain, even though she's trying to steal the universe's resources to save her planet. And Captain Marvel's like, and I'm the Annihilator. I don't know what to do. Maybe. And they're like, what if? Let's make up some science. What if you fly into Hala? What if you fly into their sun?
Their dying sun.
And reignite their sun? She's like, I've never done that. And Monica Rambeau says, it'll work. And I was like, okay.
Well, she says, I've done a bunch of things I haven't ever done before today.
So dumb. There's no explanation for anything that happens to this movie.
I was okay with that, though, because she has light powers.
And then they're like, okay. There's this big rift in space. It doesn't matter what happens. I mean, do we want to explain what happens to the villain?
Well, I mean, I was worried.
She gets both bangles, bangs them, she explodes, and there's a big rift in space.
Hold on. This is another movie where there are two things of a MacGuffin that they need to find.
Yes.
And then put together.
Yes.
I was worried, actually, they weren't going to kill
Impossible.
off the villain here. I was worried they were going to have this understanding, I was misunderstood, so everything's okay. Because I'm like, no, this villain is
They started going
planets.
there. They started going there.
They start, because the villain gets stabbed.
So then they're like, Monica
they're like-
Rambeau goes, I've read the script, literally. And so if I go to the other side of the rift and you guys give me all your powers, I'll be able to fix it. And they're like, why? And she's like, because I just said so. And so she does.
She doesn't say that.
And then she literally gets lost in a different parallel dimension.
No, literally when she said, we have to repair the rift from the inside, I went, she's going to get trapped on the other side.
Yeah,
like,
why didn't the characters see that?
I don't know. But
Because
like
Carol was
when
sad
she said
for
from
2
the
seconds.
inside, I went, well, you're going to get trapped then. Like there's no suspense here.
So Zach, I don't know if you've seen No Way Home or Doctor Strange 2 or Loki or WandaVision. They try to explain the multiverse in like every different way you could. Now there's something new.
Oh, great.
And so definitely like through these space portals, now Monica Rambeau is in a different parallel dimension.
Okay.
And are we to this point yet in the story?
Where the person sitting next to her is her mom, but it's not her mom.
It looks like she wakes up in a hospital room.
Like, so anyone could have been next to her in this hospital room, but it ends up being her mom, but it's not her mom.
And so she's blown away, very excited. I'm like, she's acting. Okay, that's good.
And then you hear someone singing about tossed salad and scrambled eggs. That's right. Kelsey Grammer is back.
But is it Kelsey
very
Grammer?
CGI beast.
This is the last minute reshoot where they threw in Beast, who looks cartoon accurate, but he also looks like it's a 1997 cartoon on the big screen.
Honestly, the live action Kelsey Grammer as in the makeup as Beast looked better.
And so what they're trying to do is bring in the X-Men for Secret Wars. And that is the only consequence of this movie is when they all reunite through an endgame sort of portal, they're all going to be together.
There could be another consequence, though, Kent. Because at the very end of the credits... No, not at the very end of the credits. There's literally nothing but a sound effect at the very end of the credits. You do not need to stay to the end of the credits.
Yeah.
But a mid-credits sequence where, the recruiting stuff that happens, So Kate Bishop from Hawkeye,
yeah.
the TV show, she comes home and there's someone waiting in the dark for her. And I thought it was actually going to be Carol Danvers. So I was actually surprised when Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, stands up. But she totally does this little recruiting thing for a group of kid superheroes.
It's a Young Avengers from the comics.
Young Avengers, yeah. And it was one of those moments where I went, it made me smirk, but they're not really going to follow through with that, are they?
Yeah, they are. This is the A-Force too, by the way.
That's it.
Everything they're doing is the A-Force.
No.
The movie.
Okay. But yeah, that's the.
You want to see it?
No. So no Storm in this one?
No.
There was some rumors about Storm showing up. So it's Beast, huh?
Beast shows up, and it really is just one of those, non-consequential cameo moments where it's like
a lot of people give each other high fives, sweaty palms, high fives.
Dumb.
Yeah.
The crowd, our crowd was mostly critics.
Yeah.
And so there wasn't a lot of reaction to any of this. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of what got the biggest reaction. But
I just hate that the takeaway is always what the mid-credit scene is. Like, the movie's irrelevant. What's the mid-credit?
That's basically
because that's what sets up the next one. But then you, again, don't care about it till the mid-credit.
But at the same time, initially, when Marvel was doing it, it's like, oh my gosh, that's Thor's hammer. That is amazing. Mm-hmm. Thor's coming. Like, that was the cool thing. The problem is that was back in the late 2000s, when we didn't really, we had the internet, but it wasn't as like, Marvel wasn't scheduled out like, here's everything we're doing. So it's not a surprise anymore.
No.
There's a big problem when your movie stars a character that's Photon or Spectrum or whatever they want to call her, and the bad guy's named Dar-Benn.
Yeah. So I was going to say Monica Rambeau is Spectrum in this?
Yeah, they don't name her, but then they try.
They try to name her the whole movie. I actually did like some of the scenes of the three of them together, like when they're kind of playing off each other.
The inconsistent power changes. I agree. Like literally the most inconsistent thing.
It's a little weird how they did that, but yeah. I did like that aspect of them. But them on their own, each of them, I was like, I'm not really. No.
I would have rather. I think Carol is better as a character with a sidekick. I think she and Miss Marvel could make for a decent movie.
I like the fangirl stuff.
Yeah.
Like when Kamala realizes that Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel was in her room, and like when they finally meet, I was actually kind of like, oh, that's cute.
But Zach, have we told you about the best part? It's under 2 hours.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. You did tell him about that.
Yeah, I know. I just have to restate my favorite part.
So it sounds like I need to just make sure to see the cats scene.
Yes.
That sounds fun.
And you will. It was a fun moment, and it was a problem solution that I was like, that's something you'd see in like a Doctor Who type thing.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, this is a clever way to get out of the situation because all the other doors were closed. But yeah, so that's kind of the highlight of the movie. But there you go, listener. Thanks for listening to our review of the Marvels. Let us know if you've seen it. We'd like to keep things spoiler free in the comments, but you can always DM us if you want to have a more at length conversation. So yeah, higher, faster, stronger, everybody.
Nick Fury's eyeball